Welcome to our Saturday simulcast. It's just Tom and Alan this time. Alan Karpick with Tom Dienhart. Brian Newbert is working hard in Uncasville, Connecticut, wrapping up Purdue's 93-84 win over North Carolina. Tom, we're going to break down a little bit of Purdue Northwestern. It's really a golden day for Purdue. When you win a game like that in Wrigley Field, it wasn't a style points game, but got the job done. Then you come back and we sat in a car driving back from Chicago and could listen to what was a terrific basketball game, and of course a great finish by the men's basketball team to beat North Carolina for the first time since 1974. That would be 47 years if you're counting. It's a big day, but let's go back to what we saw in Evanston at Wrigley Field. Really, first and foremost, just a fun day for Purdue fans. We had fun getting there and walking on the field before the game, kind of soaking it all in. Just your reaction to just what that venue was like and how special it was for Purdue to get the job done in relatively convincing fashion today.
Yeah, Alan, boy, you and I spent a lot of time in Chicago over the years and at Wrigley Field, and to get to see Purdue play football in that venue was something I never thought I'd experience. We were surrounded today as we walked around Sheffield and Waveland Avenue, Clark and Addison by Boilermaker fans everywhere, it seemed like, right?
Yeah.
It was a cavalcade of gold and black everywhere you looked. The weather was great, and the outcome agreed with I'm sure all the Purdue fans there, Alan. Purdue's now 7-4, buddy, as they stare down a moribund IU team next weekend. But like you said, not a lot of style points, but you know what? Purdue made the plays when it had to make the plays, Alan. Interesting looking back at some stats tonight. You know, Purdue didn't score its first two drives, missed a field goal and punted. The next 7 drives, Alan, Purdue scored on each drive. Field goal, 3 touchdowns in a row, field goal. Special teams contributed today. And again, the defense made some key stops when it had to. So all in all, you know, Jeff Brom still has many teaching points, but still, for Purdue to go in there with the pressure of being the favorite, everybody thought they were going to win, and they took care of business, right, against a team that really had nothing to lose. So you credit for Purdue for doing that under what could have been very difficult circumstances.
You know, you look at a crowd of about 31,000 or 32,000, a pretty full crowd at Wrigley, but, you know, probably half, if not more, Purdue fans, and that was certainly a big storyline, a lot of celebrating going on. It was a slow start. You know, you missed field goal early, and you know, and kind of a little bit of Purdue got a little bit of good fortune too. Of course,
yeah.
It was tight at halftime. Then you have the onside. It wasn't an onside kick. I was actually walking back from visiting with some family members back to the press box and looked up and said, "God, did they try an onside kick?" And I had to go back and watch it. That was the best fake onside kick in the history of college football. But it really was a big play because it got Purdue back in position, put itself up 2 scores after that. I know Northwestern scored again, but Purdue did make the plays, and they had a little bit of fortune at the right time as well.
Yeah, you were sitting in the post-game press conference with me in the batting cages of the visiting clubhouse of Wrigley Field. And, yeah, Jeff Brom said just that. They had some good fortune, I think, to paraphrase Jeff Brom. And like you, at first glance, I thought, wow, they had the guts to try that onside kick. Because remember, Northwestern closed that first half with the momentum. They scored the touchdown the very last play to make it 13-7 Purdue. So, and then Purdue was going to kick off to them to start the second half. And but again, I'm going to go ahead and say it's the most fortuitous accidental onside kick in Purdue history. Think I'm safe, Alan?
Never seen one like it.
And then, of course, that hits a Northwestern player. Collie Saunders recovers. Then Purdue, of course, cashes in, right, with the touchdown. And off and away they go. So, yeah, that was a big play by the special teams that reacted. And in the first quarter, Alan, if you remember, George Karlaftis blocked a field goal too.
Yeah.
So nice day for the special teams. I know Mitchell Finner missed his first field goal, but he came back, I think, at 4 of them, right?
Right.
And by and large, the special teams did well. And those were probably maybe the 2 bigger plays in the game, Alan. The blocked field goal to stem some early Northwestern momentum, and then that crazy accidental onside kick that we recovered and then cast into a touchdown. Were really 2, again, kind of maybe hidden key plays in this ball game.
You look at what Milton Wright did today, 7th best all-time passing yardage and 213. What was that guy?
Eight
catches, 213 yards. Of course, David Bell has 2 that were better than that this year, but I just thought he is making big plays, and we'll first hit him. 8 catches for 213, 3 touchdowns as well. A couple long passes, but just now is becoming and he's done it the last couple of weeks especially, but he is really becoming an excellent second option for Aiden O'Connell. And David Bell had a quiet 101 yards or whatever it was today, but you have to be impressed with Milton Wright. He can really get up and down and make plays.
Alan, he averaged only 26 yards a catch today. How about that?
Yeah.
8 catches, 213 yards, averaged 26.6 yards per catch. He had 3 catches over 40 yards today. And boy, Aiden O'Connell feathered some nice passes to him. But then you talked about David Bell. How many times, Alan, you catch 12 passes for 101 yards and you're not even considered the best receiver that day? Such was David Bell's plight on this balmy afternoon in Chicagoland. But yeah, Milton Wright was I think the headliner, obviously. And like you said, Alan, he's picked an opportune time to step up. For many weeks, we would have these Zoom sessions and I would talk among you guys and Brian and others about Purdue's need to have somebody step up as a complimentary receiver to David Bell. We went through September, most of October, waiting. And finally, Milton Wright seemed to have really taken that role, if you will, and taking pressure off David Bell, Allen, and giving defenses another headache, because in the postgame, Aiden O'Connell talked about it. Yeah. Often Northwestern would cloud or double cover David Bell, and that left Milton Wright one-on-one on the other side of the field. And by golly, Aiden O'Connell found them, and the rest is history for Milton Wright with this big ball game. So again, I wrote something in the postgame, Alan. Can you remember? Can you believe this is the same offense that scored 13 points 4 times in 5 games? You have to credit the coaching staff.
Yeah,
because they constantly were tweaking and looking for solutions. Some stuff worked, some didn't, but they were trying things, and they really found a formula now where this offense is really playing well as we're coming to the finish line.
Yeah, Purdue is in the red zone 6 times, scored 5 times, 4 of those times field goals. So they struggled a little bit there. Yeah, didn't run the ball as well as I think we thought they could against Northwestern. I mean, they had a couple runs that were important late in the game, but so and too many penalties. It was a little more penalties than we've seen all year. Purdue's not been penalized very much. So if you're looking for the things that they need to improve upon, that was certainly it. Jalen Alexander talked about in postgame about in the second and third quarter, Northwestern did move the ball. They had about 100 yards each quarter against Purdue and was able to cause some problems for a while. Purdue had a little bit of trouble stopping that run game there, but these are all things Purdue has to work on and can continue to improve upon. But still, at the end of the day, in college football anymore, when you hold teams under 20 points, that's pretty good. And Purdue's been able to do that, and again in today's 32-14 victory. I mean, what other things you get to pick apart about what they need to do better? I guess that's pretty much the up and down there from this perspective of what the Boilermakers didn't do well today.
Alan, it's a lot more fun teaching lessons when you win, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And you talked about the penalties. I asked Jeff Brom about that after the game. They had the fewest average penalties per game in the Big Ten coming into today, and they had 8 for 74 yards, I think. So, yeah, just one of those days. And talked about the ground game. Northwestern was last in the Big Ten in rush defense. Like you said, we all thought maybe this was the day the Purdue ground game would show some life. It really didn't happen. I think the long run was 11 yards. And you can always find things to pick apart that you can still work on. But by and large, like I said, this team seems to be reaching its potential, if you will, right? Yeah. I certainly thought 7 wins was their ceiling, and here they are with 7 wins and a game left against maybe the worst team in the Big Ten. So again, this season's turning out to be one of the better ones in the last 15 to 18 years, Alan. 2006.
Yep.
We'll see how it finishes up. But we have to talk a little bit more about Aiden O'Connell, I think.
Oh,
too.
yeah, phenomenal again today.
I mean, my gosh.
Did we ever get the math done? Is it 100? Everybody says I'm jinxing him on Twitter, but he's at 195. Did we say what was it?
Yeah, I think that's what you said. I need to go back and
or 192 consecutive passes, I think it is, without an interception, going all the way back to the fourth quarter of the Wisconsin game. But he just is, he wasn't perfect today, but he's just solid. And those passes, the passes to right, the ones that went for over 40 yards were just perfect. I mean, they were perfect passes, hit him right in stride, and he missed a couple early. They had a couple opportunities. Maybe, but boy, Aiden O'Connell was just solid again.
Feathery touch.
Yeah,
I guess that's something that comes to mind often when I watch him throw the football. He's got a decent strength to his arm, but he's got the confidence, Alan. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I don't care what you're doing in life. If you've got confidence in yourself, that's you can't put a price tag on that. And Aiden O'Connell's feeling it right now. This is a coach, this is an offense and a quarterback that are really in total sync. And like you said, it wasn't perfect, but Al, he's still completing passes every week at about a 75% clip. And he's not turning the ball over. Think back to the Minnesota game.
Yeah.
Missed passes there that could have won that thing late. And I'm not saying they would have beaten Wisconsin, but who knows? That was a tie game at halftime. And if not for the turnovers, it kept throwing the defense back out on the field. Maybe the defense doesn't get trucked in the second half. Maybe Purdue wins that game. Who knows? It's all in the rearview mirror. It all happens for a reason. Purdue got to this point where Aiden O'Connell's playing very well. Purdue has a chance to finish with 8 wins, maybe 9 wins. And Alan, they did a pretty good job protecting him as well today, too. And again, you have to credit that offensive line. Northwestern only had 1 sack today, buddy.
Yeah,
I don't think O'Connell was sacked last week either.
Yeah, he's not been sacked many times and yet you talked about O'Connell being a first team, or at least maybe he's going to be second team.
Yeah,
CJ Stroud's 32 of 35, 432 and 6 touchdowns in Ohio State's win. But no, I mean, it's just one of the great stories in college football. Here's a walk-on. I don't know. I don't know if anybody asked him. Maybe whether he was a Sox or Cubs fan, but grew up in the shadow of Wrigley or shadow of Chicago. Comes into his hometown and puts on another clinic, 29 for 39, 423 and 3 touchdowns. Just an average day for him.
Yeah, and now some of his lack of sacks is that he gets the ball out quick, and they do some things schematically to help that offensive line, but still very impressive. And yeah, we talked to Aiden this last week, and I asked him that Sox-Cubs question, Alan.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Anytime you meet somebody from Chicago, you got to ask the Sox-Cubs question, right?
Yeah.
And of course, he grew up and he said he was a Sox fan. The 2005 World Series memory was a great one for Aiden O'Connell. He said he often dressed up like Scott Podsednik when he was a kid. He talked about a deep cut. But he says now he's a Cub fan, Alan. He said it was because of his family. So I don't like those traitors. But
yeah.
But Aiden O'Connell can like whoever he wants at this point.
Yeah, he's just been outstanding, and his moxie, and as Jeff Brom always talks about, just his calm demeanor is very, very Hollywood story. Being in a situation where he can make plays and does it with relative ease. So, all right, it's on to the bucket game. Indiana, a 35-14 loser at home. Under 200 yards of offense for Indiana today. I think it was, just over. I'm sorry. I don't want to take any yards away from the Hoosiers. They had 208 yards in offense in that 35-14 loss to Minnesota. And we were just talking about that in the car on the way home. What a difference. Last year, Purdue was running and hiding. They were lucky that they didn't have to play Indiana the way the seasons were going at the time. And of course, both teams stricken with COVID was rearing its ugly head in a big way at that point. But then, now Indiana just is about, you said, worst team in the Big Ten. I think it's true. And they got troubles at quarterback. They've got troubles everywhere they turn. Purdue will be I'm going to guess 17, 18 point favorite. I'm going to guess in the bucket game. But yet, It's the bucket game, and Purdue wants to get it back for the first time since 2018, or I guess they actually lost it in 19, right? So you want to be able to do that and get it back. What do you see coming into next week for Purdue, and what's going to be important things for Purdue to focus on as they take on Indiana?
And take them seriously, right?
Yeah.
Because you and I have been around long enough. I'm sure a lot of people watching this have been around long enough to know when Purdue's upset the old IU apple cart in this game. I always think back to 1989, man.
Yeah.
And how they crushed Anthony Thompson's Heisman dreams and kept IU out of a bowl game as a very heavy underdog in Bloomington, Indiana that day. So what I'm trying to say is anything can happen in these rivalry games. I know it's cliched, but it's a cliche because it's true. And I know IU's struggling. I think they're playing their true freshman quarterback, Donovan McCauley. He's having a lot of growing pains. And, just stay focused and take it seriously. And I think because of the fact Purdue didn't get to play these guys last year, there's been a lot of IU hype for 2 years they've had to listen to, right? And they don't have the old Oaken bucket. I think that combination of those things should make for a very highly motivated team wanting to get this thing back. IU's had the better of this rivalry for almost 10 years now, I think. I think they may have won 6 of the last 10, if I believe. So, you got to win your state, buddy, right? And Purdue, for most of my lifetime, has won this state. But right now, IU's had the momentum going, and Purdue wants to get it back. And chance to get that 8th win. And we were talking in the press box today, too, right? The last time Purdue had 8 wins in the regular season was 2006. Again, we always go back to the Joe Tiller era for all these things, it seems like, right?
Yeah.
So, it's a long time ago. And if they can get a 9th win, Alan, that hasn't happened since 2003. So, what Jeff Brown and company are accomplishing in year 5 is much needed. And, you certainly would hate to sully things by losing to your rival on your home field in the finale. So, I think there's enough incentive there, you think, to get all these players motivated.
Oh, I'm sure that's the case. Donovan McCauley, a player that Purdue recruited heavily. Indianapolis led Indiana in rushing today, but really struggled. They struggled throwing the football. He had threw only 7 passes, had 2 picks, but did lead Indiana in rushing with 16 or 72 yards and 16 carries. This is a game. You're right. You just got to pay attention to detail. Don't let crazy things happen. A little bit like today's game, though I thought Northwestern showed some good fight early on and made it tough for Purdue, especially defensively, just kind of slowing the Boilermakers down for the first quarter and a half. And you have to give Pat Fitzgerald's outfit some credit from that. So we talk about the Golden Purdue Day because it really was one of those. And of course, we had like a chance to listen to most of it. I went back and when I got home here and watched that final 10 minutes of the game against North Carolina. Of course, Brian Newbert will have a lot on the site. He's putting that up as we speak. But boy, what a phenomenal performance by a lot of guys on Purdue's roster. And when you get a chance, like we said, get a chance to have a day like that where all those fans, we were driving down Clark Street, heading home down to Lakeshore, and you just saw the bars full of Purdue fans, and they were all going in to watch that North Carolina game. So there's a lot of celebrating going on in Chicago and around the country because you get 2 wins like this, one in an iconic venue and one against one of the Mount Rushmore programs of college basketball. Pretty good day for Purdue.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to get out of the car, Alan, and just kind of hang out for a while.
Yeah, it would have been good.
If I was 25 years old,
yeah,
that'd been a lot of fun. But
but they were having fun in Wrigley, and it was a great experience today. Just kind of fun to be part of that. I know you as an intern had the experience of working with the Cubs way back when. I've never been in their press facilities, but really a first class. We expected that. It was a good day from that standpoint, and fun to see the configuration of what they did with Wrigley Field, and even a little bit of slipping on the field, which coaches couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
But field looked great, and Purdue gets out there with a 32-14 win.
Yeah, great. Like you said, I asked Coach Brahm about that field today, and he said they had their longest cleats available that legally they could wear. And again, everybody noticed the slipping, obviously. So that wasn't ideal, but you're right. The field looked great, and the whole environment up there was fantastic. And you said topping it off, with the basketball team notching a great resume building victory today against an opponent. I think you said Purdue hadn't beaten since 1974. I mean, on and on it goes. And tomorrow they get to try to knock off Villanova, a top 5 team. So, yeah, these are high times. Enjoy, because I can be like a lot of people too. I focus too much on the losses and the victories. Sometimes I don't enjoy the.
Yeah, you got to enjoy it.
And this is a day, like you said, enjoy and soak it in a little bit, because these types of things don't happen very often in life. And just a special day when you figure in, again, the Wrigley experience and your highly ranked basketball team beating a blue blood program like North Carolina. Just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sun came out in the fourth quarter, and Wrigley made for a really an idyllic event in Chicago. All right, we will put an end to this. I want to thank our sponsor, the Union Club Hotel and the 811 Restaurant. The Boiler Up Bar, we're probably hopping a little bit tonight as well after that win. We appreciate their sponsorship of this, and we look forward to next week. We'll be talking Purdue IU football on our Saturday conversation after the bucket game on the 27th, 3:30 kick for Purdue and Indiana. A lot going on. Obviously, you'll be on the site for tomorrow with Purdue and Villanova. Brian will be doing his usual work out in Connecticut as Purdue will try to notch a huge win in basketball tomorrow. So have a great rest of your weekend, all. And Tom, one of the best parts of the day is I got to spend the whole day with you. So that was good. I mean, a lot of good day, and it was a nice day to get up there and have a great experience. So have a good rest of the weekend, all. And thanks to all of you for watching and listening. And we'll do it again next week.